So we're going to start with Gary at the end here, who has been an Interphase client and been through the process I described earlier on. Just to start us off, can you set the scene? Tell us a bit about Ennis Design, what your business is, and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Ennis Design is a digital agency. We've been going over 13 years, so we're hardly a new start. But like a lot of new starts, like a lot of businesses in this sector, like a lot of businesses full stop, one of our biggest challenges right now, not that we're in any way struggling, I need to stress that, I'm always wary when there's cameras on me and people pick you up wrong and next thing it's tweeted, is cash flow, is making sure that the work is coming in, is making sure that, you know, that we're busy and bills are being paid like any small business. There are 7.5 of us in the team. I'm always worried about saying that, again, especially to camera, because my wife gets really pissed off when I call her the half. And you know, we're doing very well, but one of the things we want to do better is develop the kind of the academic proof, if you like. We work in the world of dealing with small to medium enterprises, small businesses, whereby we help them with web design, optimization, e-commerce, and more social media. And one of the great things about social media is that it's such a big hot topic right now. It has been for years. Businesses especially want to know, you know, is it all rubbish? A lot of people believe it is. You know, does it actually help? Is it all just talking nonsense? You know, does it help business? And one of the things we do weekly almost is we're out talking to small businesses, either one-to-one or in kind of group scenarios, whereby we're trying to showcase the business benefit of social media. You know, do it for the right reasons, not just because everyone else is. And while it's great that there's so many kind of case studies and kind of anecdotal evidence, etc., there is still an awful lot of businesses who really want you to prove it to them almost, kind of show me the bottom line results. You know, prove to me that I'm going to make money when I start doing Twitter or start doing Facebook. And that's maybe not always the best starting point, because it's not quite about that. And I think anybody who works in this space will always stress it's not just about the financial aspect of it. You can't deny that an awful lot of small businesses who potentially want to invest time and money, that's the right question to ask. You know, prove to me that this is the right thing to do. So long story short, our starting point was, we can go out and deliver as many workshops or seminars or masterclasses and talk about all the great case studies and bring out all the big names that, you know, that everyone talks about, like Dell, etc., and how many millions they're making on Twitter, etc. But to small businesses, we really wanted to build a resource that was incredibly relevant to them, backed by real good, hardcore kind of research and data that actually said, here are small businesses relevant to yourself who are doing this, and here are the results that they're getting, kind of hard fact and proof. So long story short, as I say, we wanted to go and get help to do that.
Okay, and you came to Interphase initially. How did you hear about us? Where did that come from?
We actually got an invite through one of the kind of partners that I know you work with quite a lot, which is Scotland IS, who were holding an event, not just promoting Interphase, but promoting other players in the field of matching up academia with industry. We're Scotland IS members, we go to an awful lot of their things, and that one kind of caught my eye at the time, purely because it was the right time. We'd been thinking about how we make our life easier to go and get lots of good research and data, etc. And of course, you know, the way it was described to us and some of the benefits that we could actually go and look for. You know, partnering with a university in terms of getting, you know, proper academic data was a perfect timing for us. So we went along to the event. We actually had to pitch to kind of say, here's what we'd like to do, here's what we're interested in, we'd like a partner, and thankfully Interphase kind of took up the lead and kind of from that point on, you know, helped us take it forward.
And having been through the sort of Interphase process of scoping up an inquiry form, did you find that useful, or was it helpful?
Absolutely. I mean, it helped kind of challenge our thinking as well. While we had an idea that this is what we wanted to do and why we wanted to do it, it was great to have a kind of third-party perspective to kind of almost kind of broaden it a little bit. But no, certainly the whole process in terms of you know, effectively writing a brief for one of the you know, to go out there to the universities to almost kind of pitch back, which I found quite an interesting process. You know, as a small digital agency, we're out doing pitches and briefs, etc., all the all the time. And it was interesting to get the kind of other side to it, and that they were pitching to work with us, and not the kind of, you know, the vice versa that it normally is in our world.
Nice change for you.
Exactly, a very nice change, yes. But it was great, very, very easy. The kind of brief went out there. You guys did the hard work in terms of working out who the kind of shortlisted universities were that were interested, and I have to say it was a lot of them, which was great.
You had, I think it was about 7 expressions of interest. Were you quite surprised by that?
Again, I wasn't overly surprised, purely because, I mean, this is kind of come back into last year now. You know, social media then and still is a big topic, and I think a lot of the universities, and I might be careful how I phrase this, were wanting to make sure that they were at the cutting edge of social media as well, because I'm sure every one of the students it probably knows a lot more than many of the lecturers, shall I say. I'll be careful where I look when I look down the line here. So I think they were really keen to kind of jump on this bandwagon, you know, like other businesses are, and were very keen to partner with us. So yeah, we got a great response, and I was almost, you know, bit of a dilemma as to who we go with, who do we choose. Yeah,
so I mean, you eventually went with Glasgow Caledonian University. How did you go through the process of narrowing it down and
we
eventually
just picked the one
deciding?
closest to us. It was dead easy.
Really?
No, I'm not overly joking. There was a bit of truth to that. There was a practical aspect of it. You know, we knew that we were going to be dealing with the team at whatever institution we picked very, very closely. So there was a bit of a practical aspect to it, and that we wanted somebody that we were literally minutes away from, that we could have meetings and discuss the project and kind of, you know, come together whenever we needed to. That wasn't the only reason by any means. In truth, I felt that they provided the best sort of response. I felt that they got the project more than all of the others. And I also felt, and again, it's probably changed since, but at the time, they had a really kind of shared synergy with what we were trying to do in the world of social media, which was to really demystify it, prove that, you know, it wasn't going to make every company $1 million overnight. It was just a tool to do effective communications, etc., etc. They kind of shared an awful lot of that synergy. You know, certainly what came through in the response back to is much more than some of the others.
Right.
And I just felt it was a really good tie-in between the two.
So in terms of choosing them, it's all almost instinctive, and they got what you were after.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, let me sum up another way. I kind of, you know, went down the levels of looking to see what they actually did in terms of the coursework from a social media point of view, and an awful lot of their kind of practical work that they did with students as part of other courses, etc., marketing and digital and the web, etc., was very, very much on a par with what we do when we're out talking to small businesses. You know, you're really looking for the right reasons to do it and not just set up Facebook because everyone's on Facebook. So there was a real close synergy there.
And what then has been the value add for your business in terms of going to academia? What's it meant for you in terms of talking to your audience?
I mean, first and foremost, the end result from a lot of it was really good academic research, you know, into companies who are already doing social media and the benefits they get back from it. Now, it would have been not easy, but we could quite easily have gone out and done that ourselves. But of course, when we're out actually trying to practice and, for use of a better word, you know, sell social media training and workshops, etc., everyone would just have said, well, that's great. Of course, you're going to tell us that all these companies benefit, etc., because that's what you're trying to sell us. So it gave us a kind of third-party kind of validated, you know, us in partnership with Glasgow Caledonian, real kind of credible research that it wasn't just us saying, you know, you need to do this and we can help you do it. It was, you know, here's the proof. Now we'd like to help you do it. So the end result was, you know, as a business, it greatly helped, you know, us do more commercially, to go and speak to smaller businesses, to go and run workshops based on the research. That wasn't just, you know, what we say. It's here's what has come back from, you know, real credible academic research. A lot of it was, you know, it might sound a little bit, you know, for the wrong reasons, but having that badge against, you know, the slides and the stats, etc., that were up on the screen, really valuable thing to have. So that kind of partnership was great for us.
Great. And you mentioned that you know, cash flow is an issue for a small business like yours.
Yeah.
Had you thought about funding before you started down this path?
I mean, but as any small business tends to do, we're always kind of slightly aware of various funding paths, etc. My own experience of sometimes going for funding, and again, I'll be careful, you know, not mentioning any names. It's often too many hoops to jump through, to the extent of you're wasting more time and resource to actually go through the process process for what valuable gain you get back. That certainly wasn't the case with the Interphase. Again, I stress, you guys did the hard work. I really do feel that, and that was great from our point of view, because it's not just cash flow, it's resource. As a small business, we're all incredibly busy. We've all got loads of things to do, and the easier somebody can actually make that process happen, the better.
Yeah, because you got an innovation voucher.
Yep. Again, going back to your kind of ladder on the screen earlier, which is a wonderful bit of animation, I have to say. You know, at the lower end of it was always where we were going to pitch in terms of, you know, the innovation voucher is great in that it gives you up to £5,000. But of course that's matched funding, so it's not just a case of walking away with all of the money, and you have to match fund it. But as you said, it's matched fund. It doesn't need to be cash, it can be in kind. So we were always maybe going to do this anyway, and suddenly we were almost kind of doubling our efforts, because the effort in kind, the doing of it would have been done by the team anyway. So suddenly we've got the double resource with the university helping us as well. So
yeah, good. And did everything run to time? How were timescales?
Yeah, everything went well. Everything. Again, it was. I suppose I know this is one of the questions you're going to ask me maybe later on regarding any issues, any kind of hiccups or whatever. I think I can't remember who mentioned it. That you know, when you work with a team within the university, you are slightly bound by their timescales. You know, they go on holiday. That's holiday. Unlike small business, where I can't remember the last time I had a blooming holiday. So you are kind of dictated by, okay, things need to shut down now, the team are away, the term is ended, and pick it up again as and when you need to. But apart from that aspect of it, you know, kind of being very, very rigid as to when we needed to do things by, you know, because of these kind of practicalities, it all went well and it all went very smooth.
Great. Okay. And do you have any tips or advice or anything to be wary of based on your experiences?
I think, and it's already been said this morning already, I think, you know, we were very lucky, I think. We had a great partnership with Glasgow Caledonian. The team there, as I say, really got what we were trying to do and vice versa. I think it could maybe, depending on who you are and what you're trying to do, there could maybe be a little bit of conflict. And I use that word very carefully, but our agenda was different to their agenda, but thankfully there was an awful lot of overlap. And I suppose the tip is just to make sure that whoever you're choosing, there is that overlap. Otherwise, you know, both parties are going at it from different approaches. Yes, of course, they're very, very interested in the academic research and the publication aspect of it, and the kind of the benefit to them. We are very much interested in the practical results and the data, so that we can implement that into what we go and do with companies and help companies. But in amongst all that space, there was a good deal of overlap, and thankfully there was, because we were both on the same page, as opposed to trying to, you know, go to it from kind of two different angles. And I you know, my bit of advice would be just make sure there is that kind of shared synergy, because otherwise there is a potential for kind of conflict.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.